Hey there, this is Adam Jones from the Wolf Rock Boat Company. I hope you guys are well. I am down here in Salcombe. It's just before Christmas, got a couple of weeks to go, and it is feeling very, very Christmassy down here. There's not a lot of boats on the water, and I absolutely love getting out on a boat this time of year. You've got the whole place to yourself. We've got a little bit of a weather window, which is the only thing when it comes to this sort of boating this time of year. You do have to be really careful about making sure that you know what the swell's like out there, what the wind direction is looking like. And just because the wind direction is in the right direction today doesn't mean that for the last week it hasn't been absolutely hammering in and you're about to go out into a 12-foot swell. So you need to check all of those things. But today we've got a little bit of a window and we're going to head out there. And one of the things that I want to talk about, because we've had loads of questions on the various social media channels and just generally through the Wolf Rock, is how to use your Garmin Chartplotter and a few of the things that come as standard on most of the Garmin Chartplotters that come with the boats from the Wolf Rock Boat Company. So let's head on out and we'll have a little chat about a few of the things that you can use your chart plotter for. Obviously plotting your chart, looking at your depths, looking at your fish finders that are on there, but also a little bit about the engine data that you can actually get through your Garmin Chartplotter. One of my personal favorites is fuel used by your engine, because you know, boat fuel gauges are notoriously finicky based on the fact that that boat is moving all the time, so your fuel gauge is going to be up and down all day. So if you fill your boat up with, say, 150 litres of fuel at the beginning of the day, you know that she's got 150 litres in her. You can then put 0 to that fuel used on your Garmin and constantly come back to it, and the Suzuki will tell the Garmin exactly how much fuel is being used to the 0.1 of a litre. So you get a really, really accurate view of how much fuel you're using on your day out, which should give you loads of confidence to go that little bit further and explore that little bit wider. So let's go out and have a little look, and I'll talk you through the Garmin. Come with me. Right, so hopefully, as you can see on my plotter at the moment, we are coming out of Salcombe Harbour. So if I zoom out of this map, you'll be able to see the mouth of Salcombe Harbour there. We've got the Wolf Rock buoy just in front of us at the moment, and we're heading out of one of the many tracks that we've covered in this boat, so I can see where's safe and where isn't. That's the first thing I think is really important with your Garmin or any chart plotter, is just making sure that these charts are as accurate and as up to date as they possibly can be to make things as safe as possible for you. So on here you can set your data as to what you want in these corners. These can all be changed with the Garmin. You'll just hold on to that piece of data and you can change it to whatever you decide is useful for you as you are navigating your vessel, but I'm going to leave them as they are. The other thing you can do is obviously change your units of measurement in the settings as well. So at the moment I've got it set to knots and in meters. When I use my boat on freshwater, I tend to set this to miles per hour and this one to feet, mostly because miles per hour is what they measure the speeds on the river, so I can quickly see the speed limits and make sure that I'm within those. And the reason I like to use feet is just to give me a few more increments of measure on those more shallow waterways. But whilst I'm out at sea, I like to have all of that data in knots and meters. But like I said, you can change that within the settings on your Garmin. So if we go to the home page, you'll see we are currently in charts on the right hand side of this menu, and that gives us an opportunity to look at the various charts that are available and decide which one we like. I'm currently in the nav chart setting, and for most people that will be absolutely perfect. So you can also within this go to combos, which is another really nice way of doing it. So that combo there, which is named chart and sonar, is running a nav chart on the top left, so I can keep an eye on where I am and what I'm doing. I've got all of my data on the left hand side there, and then I'm running 2 sonar opportunities there. So this is a standard sonar, so that's running at 77 kilohertz, and this one here is a much better clear view sonar, which is running at 455 kilohertz. That can actually be changed to be even higher than 455, but gives you a good visual of what's below you, and if you're out fishing, really does make a massive difference to being able to see, you know, say wrecks on the bottom. You can see, you know, there's a ship around the corner here, you can almost see the old wheelhouse of the ship on this clear view. It's quite amazing. So you come back into home again down the right hand side of this menu, and it will vary from Garmin Chartplotter to Garmin Chartplotter. Some of them will touchscreen, some of them will have buttons, but the rules are generally the same. Find the menu button and then you can scroll through all of these various options. Some of the wording on the right hand side of the menu will be different as well. For example, on my GPS map units that I've got on my boat, This one down here that I'm going to talk about is called Vessel, and you go into the Vessel and you'll get a lot of the fuel and engine data that I'm going to quickly talk you through now. So if I go into One Helm on this one here, I've got access to quite a few different things. My Active Captain from the Garmin app, which you can download on your phone, which I'd implore you to do. There's loads of things that you can make sure link up between your chart plotters, system updates, all of that type of stuff. You've got your engine data, so you can see here that I can get all of my engine data that I can also get on my MFD, but for me, I find it a lot easier to read across my Garmin. It's nice to know where that is so that I can flick backwards and forwards to it. But if I go back into this page here, this is the key piece of information that I really like to do at the beginning of every trip on one of my boats. And we've had, like I said, this is where a lot of the questions have come from. You know, boat fuel gauges are notoriously difficult to read, and based on whether you're going fast or slow or you're in big swell, you're going to get different readings on this fuel gauge that you've got on your MFD. So if you go into your fuel, you can see I've got loads of data there. And as with everything on your Garmin Chartplotter and any chart plotter that you're running, you're going to be able to customize that data for whatever is useful for you. So here you can see we've got fuel economy and total fuel economy. Now, I'm not intelligent enough to know the difference between those two things, but what I can see straight away is they are giving me the same piece of information twice. So if I click on this bottom one here, I want to change it. So I've clicked on it, it'll give me a menu on the right hand side. I'm going to go to replace data. Now, where this can get a little bit complicated is if you go into fuel, you won't find the piece of information that I really like, which is the total fuel used by the engine. The way that you do that is you go to your trip. So in here you've got trip data, and this is all data to do with the current trip that you are on rather than engine data. So if we go to trip fuel used, so I'm going to replace that data so we can see we've got trip fuel used there, and we're going to come out, and that will now give us 980 litres used. So that is 980 litres on whenever we started, whenever that was last reset. So now I want to reset that trip. So instead of, I've changed this to, I've just done it too quickly, but basically you've changed this to fuel used, and you want to reset that trip every single time you go out so that you know you filled your tank with 120 litres, you know that as long as that hasn't got to 120 litres, you've still got fuel in the tank. So you would go to menu, the main menu, and you would reset the trip. And that will then reset this fuel use dial, as you can see, to 000, which means that as we're boating now, we can have a fantastic day on the water, knowing exactly how much fuel we've used rather than stressing out with the gauges and dials that are based on the boat being flat and level when they read the pieces of information that they read. It's nothing to do with the fact that it is not good information from the MFD. It is to do with the fact that the actual physics of how the fuel is measured on the inside is all to do with almost like a stopcock inside the tank, and obviously that is constantly moving as the boat is moving, and that will adjust what it reads on your fuel tank gauge. So that's one of my best tips. I think get that fuel used up there, reset the trip at the beginning of every time you go out on the boat, and you will get the most accurate data that you can possibly get, and you're not going to be stressing out while you're on the water. So I'm going to pop back into my charts. In fact, I'm going to run combos. I'm going to go into that combo chart there. I'm going to zoom out. You can see on that chart we're coming up to the right hand side of the bar on the mouth here. It's quite low tide, so I'm just going to skirt around the outside of that bar rather than going straight over the top of it, because why not? There's nobody else here and we're not in a rush, and we're going to head out and have a little go on this boat. I hope that that's made sense with the Garmin Chartplotter. What I would say with all of this is spend some time looking at the power of the data in these chart plotters and the things that you can do via the app, linking the app obviously up to your chart plotter from your phone, and linking up things like your Fusion sound system to your Garmin Chartplotter, and just making sure that everything on your boat, all of the technology that we take for granted when we're out and about on our laptops and our phones, that your tech on your boat is running as efficiently as possible. And have a little look through some of those menus, because I guarantee there'll be something that makes your boating experience better that you've been thinking, I just really want that information. half the time that information is available in your Garmin Chartplotter. So if there are any further questions, the best thing to do is give the guys at the Wolf Rock Boat Company a call and ask them about the capabilities of the chart plotter that you have on your vessel. And if there are any further questions, drop them in to the comments of this video, like and subscribe. There's going to be plenty more videos coming. Hopefully that's been helpful, and we'll speak to you guys very soon. Cheers.